Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's update on Hurricane Milton. So, Hurricane Milton is an absolute monster of a hurricane and is now a Category 5 with winds of 165 miles per hour, gusts up to 200 miles per hour, is moving to the east and has a minimum central pressure of 914 millibars. Hurricane Milton was a 180 mile per hour Category 5 hurricane earlier this evening and thankfully seems to be undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle, which has temporarily weakened the storm as it moves just north of the Yucatan Peninsula, likely producing major damage to portions of the northern Yucatan. Looking at the latest cone for Milton, as we go into 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, we're still looking at a Category 5 hurricane with 165 mile per hour winds and 200 mile per hour gusts moving to the northeast. Going into 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, 160 mile per hour winds, 195 mile per hour gusts moving to the northeast. Still looking at a Category 4 going into Wednesday morning with 145 mile per hour winds and 175 mile per hour gusts moving to the northeast. And then going into Wednesday evening 7 p.m., 125 mile per hour Category 3 major hurricane with 155 mile per hour gusts moving to the northeast as it approaches Tampa Bay. And we are looking at a landfall directly over Tampa or just south of Tampa as we go into Thursday evening, looking at catastrophic impacts for the Tampa Bay area. If you haven't evacuated, please evacuate now, as we could be looking at a historic hurricane landfall Wednesday evening in the Tampa Bay region. Could move directly over at Orlando, and as we go into 7 a.m. Thursday morning, still looking at an 80 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane with 100 mile per hour gusts moving to the east-northeast, just east of Orlando. And then going into 7 p.m. Thursday, 85 mile per hour winds, 105 mile per hour gusts moving to the east over the Atlantic. Going into 7 p.m. Friday evening, 60 mile per hour post-tropical cyclones, 70 mile per hour gusts moving to the east. Could move just south of Bermuda as it dissipates going to 7 p.m. Saturday as a 40 mile per hour post-tropical cyclone with 50 mile per hour gusts. So taking a look at the latest key messages for Hurricane Milton, you're going to be seeing some very strong wording in here. Damaging hurricane force winds and a life-threatening storm surge with destructive waves are expected across portions of the northern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula through tonight. Milton is expected to grow in size and remain an extremely dangerous hurricane when it approaches the west coast of Florida on Wednesday. A large area of destructive storm surge will occur along portions of the west coast of Florida on Wednesday. This is an extremely life-threatening situation, and residents in those areas should follow advice given by local officials and evacuate immediately if told to do so. This is very strong wording. Please heed the advice of local officials if you live in Central Florida, as this is going to be a devastating historic hurricane for Central Florida. Potentially devastating hurricane force winds are expected along portions of the west coast of Florida, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Milton is forecast to remain a hurricane as it crosses the Florida Peninsula, and life-threatening hurricane force winds, especially in gusts, are expected to spread inland across a portion of the entire Florida Peninsula. Preparations to protect life and property in the warning area should be completed by Tuesday night, since tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in this area early Wednesday. Areas of heavy rainfall will impact portions of Florida today well ahead of Milton, with heavy rainfall more directly related to the system experienced later on Tuesday through Wednesday night. This rainfall will bring the risk of considerable flash urban and aerial flooding, along with the potential for moderate to major river flooding. So taking a look at our watches and warnings from Hurricane Milton, we have a hurricane warning for much of the northern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in the red, hurricane watches and tropical storm warnings for the northeast Yucatan and the western Yucatan. We have hurricane warnings across most of central Florida, hurricane watches for the east coast and southwest Florida, tropical storm warnings for the Florida Keys in southwest Florida as well as the Big Bend area, and tropical storm watches for coastal Georgia, South Carolina, North Florida, and the Miami-Dade region. Taking a look at the latest rainfall accumulation from the Weather Prediction Center, looking at 1 to 2 inches of rainfall across north central Florida through Savannah through Charleston, 2 to 4 inches of rain in the Green Shade area, 4 to 6 inches of rain in the yellow shade area, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall in the dark yellow shade area, and this includes Jacksonville and Tampa Bay, and isolated areas could see up to 8 to 12 inches of rain from Hurricane Milton. Now, taking a look at the most destructive aspect of Hurricane Milton, this is going to be the storm surge. Looking at 1 to 3 feet of storm surge from Indian Pass through Swanee River, 3 to 5 feet through Yankeetown, 5 to 10 feet through Anclote River, and now we are forecasting 10 to 15 feet of storm surge for Tampa Bay. This is going to be a historic and catastrophic storm surge for the Tampa Bay area, causing major damage, unfortunately. Please make sure you evacuate if told to do so. And this goes all the way down through Englewood, 6 to 10 feet of storm surge down through Bonita Beach, 4 to 7 feet through Chokoloskee, 3 to 5 feet down through Flamingo, 1 to 3 feet for the Florida Keys, and then we could be seeing anywhere from 2 to 4 to 3 to 5 feet of storm surge on portions of the east coast of Florida, southeast Georgia, and South Carolina, with 1 to 3 feet of storm surge as well through the central coast of South Carolina. So this is going to be a devastating and historic storm for Central Florida. Make sure you're making your last-minute hurricane preparations if you live in and around the Tampa area and have evacuated. And if you haven't evacuated, please do so, as this is going to be a devastating and life-threatening storm. Thanks for watching. Please stay safe and have a wonderful evening, my friends.